Hey, Psych Thought friends, Doug coming to you from the office again. And as we've been going through a kind of different phase here, we've been talking about people, we've kind of got stuck in a rut, but we've opened up the can of worms that's known as Sigmund Freud. And so we saw that we've talked about all of his uniqueness, strange facts that you probably didn't know, and then we delved into some of his other ideals and concepts. Today we're going to really open that can of worms up, and so let me just go ahead and say, messenger. Don't hate the messenger. We're going to talk a little bit about Freud and women and some of his theories. And so get ready for some awkwardness, some weird feelings, and just bizarre stuff that you probably didn't want to know and probably will never forget. As always, won't you come with me today on Psych Thoughts as we talk about Freud and women. Sigmund Freud's views on women stir controversy, especially in his lifetime and even today. Hashtag don't like Freud. They continue to bring a lot of debate, okay? He wrote, women oppose change, are received passively, and add nothing to their own. That's what he wrote in 1925 in a paper entitled The Psychical Consequences of the Anatomical Distinction Between the Sexes. Now, over the years, all these things that he's written, all of his books, has been looked at, and one of the people that have looked at them in more detail is Dr. Donna Stewart Md. She's a professor and a chair at Women's Health at the University of Health in New York. She said, quote, Freud was a man of his time. Okay, he was opposed to the women's emancipation movement and believed that women's lives were dominated by sexual reproductive functionings. She went later on to say the great question that has never been answered and which is yet to be able to be answered is, despite over all these years that she has studied him and understood the female soul, what does a woman want? Once Freud mused in his book that is self-titled of his life and works, what does women want? That's a good question. Well, let's delve into that. So brace yourself. Here we go. You know, one of the things that Freud really concerned himself when he talked about females is that they suffered from what was known as penis envy. Please, don't send the hate mail. Penis envy was a female counterpart to Freud's conception of castration anxiety that males had during his theory of psychosexual development. Freud suggested that during the Phallic Stage, around the ages between 3 and 6, young girls distance themselves from their mothers and instead devote their affections towards their fathers. And like matter, so do boys develop infatuation towards their mothers and distance themselves from their fathers. Now, according to Freud, and this is Freud, not from me, don't get me confused, this occurs when girls realize that she has no penis. Basically, he said, quote, girls hold up their mother's responsibility for their lack of a penis and are not able to forgive her for that being. Thus, they are at a disadvantage. And Freud suggested this in 1933. While Freud believed that his discovery of the Oedipus complex was related theories such as castration anxiety and penis envy were the greatest of his accomplishments. These three theories are perhaps the most criticized in all of his stuff. Now I know what you're thinking. Hold on, Doug. Castration anxiety, penis envy? You explained the penis envy, that girls realize that they don't have a penis and they're mad about it and they hate their mother. And boys are afraid that their father's going to castrate them. But what was this other thing, this Oedipus complex? Well, that's something that happens during his psychosexual development of the Phallic Stage. See, there's so much to unpack in this. It's kind of strange and wonderful and unique. And a strange trip we will take. In order for us to continue on, I think I should pause right at this point and say that Freud believed that our personality and everything was shaped by our psychosexual developments, in which they were based on 5 stages. Each one of these stages had an area of pleasure that brings us things. First stage is basically the oral stage, because as an infant, from birth to infancy to 1 and 1.5, you pretty much focus on your mouth. Everything goes in your mouth. Second stage is anal, where you learn to control your bowel movements. Third stage, as we say, is the phallic stage, where you can develop neurosis. And the third is latency, finally moving into the fifth stage, genital, where we're an adult and we're now ready to date. Now, the big one that he really focused on, the one that brings the most controversy, is the third stage, the phallic stage. And in that phallic stage, he said that we run the risk of developing an Oedipus complex. So I think that what we'll do is we'll save that topic, the Oedipus complex, for the next video. As always, I hope that you like and subscribe to this channel. Remember, these are all the thoughts and ideals of Freud's, and the management here, Doug, doesn't prescribe to that. But I feel that we have to look at everything in psychology and where everybody came from and the time period. It's also easy to note that when Freud was practicing and everything at this time, that women basically had the right to have kids. That was it. They couldn't own property, couldn't do anything. And, of course, a large percentage of the clientele that he saw were females. And so he did have a misogynist attitude, and he was very male chauvinist. But it come out of the attitude. But it also is a remark that we need to look at all of his ideals and approaches, because some of them may bring new light to a lot of things. And so in this series, I hope that we see that, and we see that how we have grown and how he's basically inspired other people to prove him wrong, and we come up with better theories and ideals. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and always remember that no matter where you go, psychology is always around. Until next time, I hope you're well. Bye.